Good day and welcome to, well, it's First Friday, it's Free For All Friday, and it's Friday, August 2nd, 2024. And hello, CJ, thank you for your donation, appreciate it. And hello, Denise, CW, and Maria. All right, so for Free For All Friday, I'm going to talk a little bit about this book here. I know you can't see it, but you'll get an idea what it looks like if you want to order them. They're really cheap online. I don't know, $8 or something like that. And it's called Meet Your Strawman and Everything You Want to Know. Well, I wouldn't say everything, okay, because it has nothing to do with the Catholic faith, but it has to do with the truths of the government that has been set up here, at least in the States. And I think it also is Europe. They set the same system up there as well, and virtually worldwide. It's the same group that was, stealing from the people and hiding different things. So and being deceptive. So we're gonna talk about our remedy and how we need to educate the people who are in these administrative positions, especially government, so they can understand that the people do have a remedy and that they are not the underlings, but more the overlings of government. So also, one of the commandments of the church we had mentioned was to fast and abstinence, and within that realm is to not eat meat on Fridays. So I'm going to try and pick that up and reinstitute that. So what used to be called, there was a book called Fish on Fridays by Father Feeney, okay, back in the early 1900s. So that was a big thing for Catholics back then, was, especially in the communities and neighborhoods, not to eat meat on Friday. And it's basically a sacrifice. Okay, meat is essential for the human body. It has the most, well, I don't know if it has the most protein, but it has good protein. And it doesn't generally interfere with the digestive tract like many vegetables do. All right. And I know that people are going to argue with me about this, but probably not many of you. But so the desire, especially for men, to have meat is quite tempting and quite enjoyable. There's nothing like a good steak. So we offer that up. We have to sacrifice that. And we have something non-meat, and preferably fish, because that is a good substitute. All right, so let's say morning prayers, and then we'll start to discuss Meet Your Straw Man. Oh, and don't forget, thank you for your confessions. First Saturday is tomorrow, and I will get to them today. Okay, got all kinds of books here. In nomine Dei, matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. And anybody else who's listening who's emailed me and hasn't heard back from me, I definitely respond to emails, so check to make sure they're not in spam or anything like that. And yes, I am in touch, by the way, also with Peter from Ireland, who has agreed to distribute for Europe for us, rosaries and scapulars. So I will be putting a shipment together for him, and then parts. Anybody over there can we'll work it out where we get it shipped from there. It'll be a little bit quicker, a little bit cheaper, and a little bit easier, I think. In nomine Dei, matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. And thank you for that, Peter. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Trinitarian Theophany, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Trinitarian Theophany. Most holy and venerable Trinitarian Theophany, one divine family, I believe that thou art here present. I venerate thee with the deepest humility. I render to thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to thee. O Trinitarian Theophany, relying on thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain the pardon of my sins, the help of thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Matronam Nostrae. O Trinitarian Theophany, I love thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Trinitarian Theophany for the many graces that we receive and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to the divine family, to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Trinitarian Theophany, I most humbly thank thee for all the favors thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in thy service. I consecrate to thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by thy love, or that would not tend to thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Trinitarian Theophany the graces which are necessary to us. O divine family, thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of thy grace. Deny me not thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which thou forbiddest, to practice the good which thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please thee to send me. O Deum Matronam Nostrae, I place myself under thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve with the help of thy grace to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Okay, meet your straw man, and this is like an educational thing, little series. I'll do it each Friday. And we're going to have a little quiz to start. There's a picture of the Capitol in Washington, D.C. here, and it says, let's have a little quiz. Number 1, who meets there? Number 2, what do they do there? Number 3, do they help you in any way? If your answers were members of government, they represent all the people living in the country, and yes, they create laws to protect me and my family, then let me congratulate you on getting every one of them wrong, which you all know that. Okay, didn't do too well on that quiz. Okay, let's have another go. When was slavery abolished? Was slavery legal? Are you in debt to a financial institution? Here are the answers. The serving officers of a commercial corporation is the answer to number 1. When was slavery abolished? The answer to 2, was slavery legal? They think up ways to make money and goods from you. Are you in debt to a financial institution? No, absolutely not. They help themselves and not you. Oh, wait a minute. I apologize. Okay, the answer to number 1 of who meets there is the serving officers of a commercial corporation. That wasn't making any sense. Now it is. Okay, the serving officers of a commercial corporation meet at the Capitol. Okay, what do they do there in the Capitol? They think up ways to take money and goods from you. And do they help you in any way? No, absolutely not. They help themselves and not you. So why would anybody participate in a system like that? Okay, number 4, when was slavery abolished? Slavery has never been abolished, and you yourself are considered to be a slave right now. Was slavery legal? Yes, slavery is legal, although it is not lawful. You need to discover the difference. Number 6, and last one was, are you in debt to a financial institution? This is the interesting one. Okay, because most people would say yes. No, you are not in debt to any financial institution. And let's explain why. Okay, those in power have a big secret. Paying tax is optional. Registering a vehicle is optional. Paying a fine is optional. Attending a court is optional. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Surprised? Well, try this on for size. Every mortgage and loan is fully repaid from day 1. You can pay it again if you want to, but you don't have to. If nobody has told you that you have a straw man, then this could be a very interesting experience for you. The definitions here, this is my add in here, the definitions of these different words can be found in Black's Law Dictionary. The earlier editions have the most accurate, and then they've kind of did some word magic in the more recent ones so that it's harder to understand the original intent. However, the original older ones are still in effect, even though they may appear to be different now. That's that word magic, that scribe trickery that they do. Okay. Your straw man was created when you were very young, far too young to know anything about it. But then it was meant to be a secret, as its purpose is to swindle you. And it has been used very effectively to do just that ever since it was created. Perhaps it is about time that you learned about your straw man and how you can stop it being used against you. Knowing about it is the most important first step. You need to go on a journey of discovery, and I'm afraid that you are about to discover what you're about to discover is not very pleasant. However, if you decide to act on what you learn, it could change your life for the better. Okay, I also wanted to tell you that this book is written by doesn't say. Okay, it's supplied by the National Liberty Alliance. I'm not 100% sure who it was written for. It might have been a group that put it together. In any case, knowing about your strawman is the first important step. However, if you decide to act on what you learn, it could change your life for the better. And again, this takes courage. This is one of those virtues, okay? I learned about this stuff 20 years ago, and I was one of the early ones. And because I chose to follow truth, even though no matter how difficult it would be, you end up finding these things, and they come to you, and then you learn about them, and so that you can help others with them. If you think you are in debt, then you can get out of it if you are willing to stand up for your rights and refuse to be swindled any longer. Interested? If so, then let's start at the beginning and find out where your straw man came from and why you should care about it. It all started when your parents had a happy event and you entered the world. You don't know exactly when that was because you were not aware of the days of the week, the months of the year, or even what year it was. Even after some months had gone by, you still were not aware of these things, but by that time, your straw man had already been created, and it was being used to make some very unscrupulous people rich. None of this was your fault. It happened because your parents were fooled into thinking that they needed to register your birth and get a birth certificate for you. So they applied for a birth certificate, not understanding what would happen when they did. Well then, what happened? Okay, now years ago, just to let you know, before, let's just say before the early 1900s, okay, this is when they changed a lot of this. And going way back, you always went to the church for your birth record. That's where the birth record was kept, at the local parish, when you were born, when you were baptized, etc. Well then, what did happen? According to local authority, 1, they lost ownership of their baby, you. 2, they allowed a straw man to be created. That is not something which they can be blamed for, as nobody told them it would or even could happen, nor did anybody tell your parents what a straw man is or how it can be used against their baby. In actual fact, the registration is a contract which is in reality null and void because there was no disclosure by the local authority, nor was there intent to contract on the part of your parents. The registering of a baby's birth passes ownership, quote unquote, of the baby to the local authority. And that alone allows the local authority to take the child away from the parents if they ever want to do that. Did you ever wonder how, when two parents are together or even separated, how is it that the court gets in there and decides where the baby should go? Where did that all come from? Who would have ever allowed that? This is where it came from. This applies until the child reaches the, quote, age of maturity set by the current legal statutes. Doing that is not lawful, but after the birth has been registered, it is legal. And there is a world of difference between those two terms, a difference which it is very important that you come to clearly understand. Okay, we have to know that lawful and legal are two different things. It's just like moral and legal. Okay, when you're and this is where education for let's just say soldiers comes into play. Okay, it may be legal for them to do some sort of act, but it may not, and probably is not moral. And it's more important that we teach our children and everybody that you have to choose morality over and above legality. Okay, as long as you're in good conscience, and the act that you're performing is the better act, then it doesn't matter legally what happens, okay? And this is why we're in the situation we're in. We're in with a satanic government, and they don't give a rat's anything about your morality. However, the Trinitarian Theophany does. Okay. So what is a straw man? A straw man is a fictitious legal entity created with the hope that as the child grows up, he will be fooled into believing that he is actually the straw man, which he is most definitely not, and pay all sorts of imaginary costs and liabilities which get attached to the straw man by con artists. Okay, so they attach things to that straw man. And we're also going to go to the Wizard of Oz story. Okay, that's very applicable to this book. How is a straw man created? Well, the mechanism involves that unnecessary birth certificate, which the parents imagine is about and belongs to their baby, neither of which is actually true. If the baby has been named James and the family name is Martin, then you would expect the birth certificate to have the names upper and lowercase James Martin printed on it. If that is what is printed on it, then all is well and it's a genuine birth certificate, nothing more. However, if any other name is there, then the document is not a birth certificate, but instead is the creation of a straw man masquerading as James Martin. The alternative entries might be any of the following examples: all caps James Martin, Mr. James Martin, Martin, Mr. James, or anything else which is not exactly James Martin, upper and lowercase, and nothing else. Why create a straw man? The answer is in order to charge the straw man imaginary costs and penalties and fool the human James Martin into paying those amounts. These imaginary charges include income tax, council tax, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, road tax, import tax, value-added tax, fuel levy, loan interest, bank charges, and anything else that full-time professionals can think up and are confident that you will not notice, that you never agreed to pay and don't need to pay. Legalese. Actually, I'm going to stop there. All right, we'll talk about legalese next Friday. And if anybody has any questions in the meantime, you can shoot me an email. But it gets really, really dark and deceptive here. And I've practiced these things, and I can share examples where sometimes the people accepted it and others didn't. And I'll tell you stories as we go through them, as they pop into my head. One quick one is I didn't get birth certificates for my 3 youngest sons. And, the world has such a profound peer pressure. They make you think that you need to have these things in order to survive or live in society. And so we ended up having to get delayed birth certificates. And it's really humorous sometimes, because my sons wanted what they wanted, and they were approaching their age of maturity. And so they got them. But one of the interesting things is that when you go to these people to prove that you exist, it's so bizarre because my son will be looking at them face to face and like, how do I know this is you? It's just like, woo! They're so brainwashed. So we have to really really bring back truthfulness, number one, in everything we do. That's why sometimes I'll pray that in a Catholic society we make lying illegal. I mean, it just wouldn't be allowed. Okay, because lying does harm others, it should be made, and again, I should say unlawful. Okay, so anybody who's found guilty of lying should be held. And so it's just the stories I have. All right, let's get Mass started and pray for the souls. Pray your rosary. And contemplate. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. O Trinitarian Theophany, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one Trinitarian Theophany, forever and ever. Suscipe sancta, suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, hanc immaculatum hostiam, quam ego indignus famulus tuus offedi tibi Deum eum vivume verum. Pro unum individibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentiis meis et pro omnibus, circumstantibus et pro omnibus fidelibus Catholicorum vivis atque, defunctis ut mihi edidis proficietat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilitur conjudicium mirabilis reformaster da nobis peruius atquae et divinem mysterium eius divinitatis esse consortis qui divinitatis nostrae fiat dignotis est pateceps Deum Iesum Christum Filium qui tegum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offedimus tibi Deum calicem saitares tuum de peccantis clementium et conspectu divinae majestatis tuae, pro nostra totius mundi salute, cum adoris suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in anima contrito suscipiam rate Deum Iesum Christum et fiat sacrificium nostrum et conspectu tuo odie. Uplaceat tibi Deum matronam nostrae Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Et sanctificite blata prosequendo, et acipere hoc sacrificium tuo sancto nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas Sancta Oblationem cum tibi efferimus, a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Dei matronam nostrae et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnem Sanctorum, ut idis proficiet ad honorem nobis autem et salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere dinenter in caelis, cor memoram agimus in te spiritum Christum Deum nostrum. Orate, ut meam equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fiat ab Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipia Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nomini sui ad utilitatem quoque nostram totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, quoque apud sursum corda, habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur clementissime Mater et Pater, Deum matronam nostrae, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per Deum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus et petimus. Uti accepta habeas. et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificium edivata. In primis quae tibi efferimus, pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire, adonare et regere digneris toto orbe terrarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum, famalorum coituorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie, Gage, Neil and our lively, Marina, Josephina Mose, Mark Jr., Henry, Barbara, and Benedict Santa Croce, Casey, Mr. Nobody, Ann Bultink, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLaren and family, Jenna, Lena, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria, and the Lineweber family, the Cahill, Kendrick, Dosco, Naita, for Wolf, and Began and Kane families. We pray for Mr. Nobody to receive the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office in Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, and child abuse. We also pray for a lady who sent me a comment asking for prayers, and I'm trying to remember her name. God knows who I am intending. We pray for her and her illnesses, that she may come to learn to doctor, to heal, be a physician, and heal herself. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange with a sound currency, and no usury, and no debt strawman systems. We pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum with this Mass to destroy the satanic document of Vatican law that is the Jewish Talmud. We ask you to destroy Rome and the Vatican and recognize the authority of the Catholic Church to be in Portugal. We ask you to release the souls controlled by the demons Lilith, Asmodeus, and any Jew or Freemason, and have those souls find their way over here. All these things listed, we ask to be accomplished according to thy holy and divine will. Et Dominium circumstantium coram tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi afferimus, velque tibi affront hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suisque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum, pro spe salutis et calamitatis suae, tibi quid redum vota sua aeterna Deum vivo et vero, communicantes et momentum venerantes in primis gloriosae, semper Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et beatorum martyrium tuorum Papae Sancte Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinte, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et Omnium Sanctorum, tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectiones tuae muniam exilio per innum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblationem te Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratem ac aptableumque feceti dignitis ut nobis corpum, et sanguim fiat didictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sanctus aqua venerabilis manus suas, et elevatis oculis in caelum ate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens, consecravit, fregit didique luminis sui dicens, accipite et manducate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simine modo postquam ceremonia est accipiens et hunc praecarum caricem in sanctus aqua venerabilis manus suas, item tibi gratias agens, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, consecravit didique luminis sui dicens, accipite et vivite ex omnes. Hic est enim calix sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum. Haequot est cumplificeritis in memoriam facietis. de et memoris Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae. Tambe et passiones nec non et in feris resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensiones. Offerimus praeclare majestate tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio axareno vutu respicere digneris. Supplices te rogamus, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ibi haec preferite manus tuum, ut quod, ex hoc autoris participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinem subsenimus, omni sanctificatione, caelestia gratia repe amor per in Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died, and we especially pray for George Stelzer, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum, in Christum cruescentibum, locum refugere lucis et pacis ut otorge est prac amor per in Christum Deum nostrum, per quem haec omnia, Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso. Est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea Matronam Nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum. Dea Matronam Nostrae, Materam Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis, peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris, et intercedente beate gloriosa semper Dei Matronam Nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis ta propitius pacem in dibus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tuae, aduiti et peccato simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per iundum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam, pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apud te, haec mixtio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat accipientibus nobis in et salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apud te. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronam Nostrae, cooperante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuum unum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis, et unum quam separati permittas, qui cum eodam Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et regnam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christo, quod ego indignus sumere praesum non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tui pietate prosit mihi ad tutamentum mentis corporis, et ad me delam percipiendam, qui vivis et regnas cum Deum Matronam Nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem caelestem accipiem et nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Dea Matronam Nostrae non sunt dignus, ut resuscitete meis in tanto de queribus in apertura anima mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sunt dignus, ut resuscitete meis in tanto de queribus in apertura anima mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt dignus, ut resuscitete meis in tanto de queribus in apertura anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quid retribum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus, quae retribut mihi, calicem salutaris equipium et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocavo. Laudans invocavo Deum matrona nostra et ab inimicis mei salvacero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Cordori sumpsimus Deum Iesum Christum finamente capiam et sete munere temperae fi nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod sumpsi et sanguis, quem potavi rehariat, visceribus meis et praestat ut in me non remaniat, scelera macula quem pura et sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, oremus. May the prayer of these suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech thee, O Trinitarian Theophany, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apote, ite missa est. Deum gratiam. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium subditis meae, et praesta ut sacrificim cor oculis tuae majestatis inminus obduditibus et acceptabilem hic et omnibus pro quibus irut otulis siti miserante propitiabile per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O most holy Trinitarian Theophany, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Jesum Christum, present here, in reparation for the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and the immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae, et Deum Jesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Have courage. Please go and sanctify all those who you meet today, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Talk to you tomorrow.